3 o'clock on a Friday afternoon. Welcome aboard the Postgame show alongside Elijah Campbell. I'm Jay Phillips. Thank you so much for being with us. One of our final abbreviated programs as we get ready for Gamecock baseball coming your way at 3:45 today. Belmont in town for a 3-game set. Got a little worried this morning that we might have a delay on that one, but the weather has cooperated nicely. The sun is shining across downtown Columbia. And we got baseball coming your way in just a little bit. And we have a jam-packed show while we are with you this afternoon. In just a second, we're going to talk to, I put in quotations on Twitter today, new Gamecock assistant coach Shawn Elliott. But, of course, that's not quite entirely true. And Coach Tony Annan is in the house, hot on the heels of a massive soccer announcement for the capital city and the University of South Carolina today. So excited to talk to both of these guys, and I'll try to work in a little EBPI before we get out of here. Elijah will try to find a way to give you a few final thoughts ahead of Carolina Ole Miss, and then bang, it's off to the diamond.
That's right. We got to take the cartridge out, blow on it real quick, and then put it back in and make sure that everything's calculated correctly.
That's right. So a lot to do in a very short amount of time. So without further ado, we do welcome back onto the program. He's been with us a bunch, and he was on with us several times while he was the head coach at Georgia State. But now back in Columbia as run game coordinator and tight ends coach, he is the one and only Shawn Elliott. Good to have you back on, sir. Congratulations. How you doing?
What's up, Jay? Man, I'm doing fantastic. Just enjoying this great weather here in the great state of South Carolina.
Yeah. Listen, you told a little bit of this on Tuesday, but if you don't mind, for those who might not have gotten to hear your press conference down at the facility, I just think the story of how this comes together. I say all the time in your business. Any kind of coach, football, basketball, soccer, baseball, I don't care. Timing is everything. So with that in mind, with a vacancy on the staff here in Columbia, take us all through how this came to be.
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, Shane and I, Coach Beamer and I we'd talked on and off for a couple of years, and just nothing serious. Just, hey, how you doing down there? And, vice versa, back and forth, a little chatter, but, really nothing serious. And then when he had the opening here come open recently with the tight end position, it was just something I was like, that'd be a great spot. Now potentially could be the right time for myself. And it's about what I want to do and get back to Columbia and be with my family. My daughter's he's got another year of high school left. My son's got another 2 years. So it was just almost perfect. And Shane got word that I may have a little bit of interest in that. And next thing I know, I believe it's Tuesday night we speak for the first time. Wednesday morning we speak again. And next thing you know, here I am. I'm the tight end coach and run game coordinator for the University of South Carolina Gamecocks, and thrilled to be it.
You had such a role, you and GA, with Coach Spurrier in building this offense during the height of success here. And as run game coordinator, what did you take from what you guys did then? How did you apply it over at State? What's changed in that interim in terms of how you want to do that? Tight ends coach is one thing. Run game coordinator, as you mentioned on Tuesday, plus a tight ends coach, really entails virtually the entire offense. So take us through what Shawn Elliott is going to be doing on a day-to-day basis. Or do you even really know yet what you're going to do on a day-to-day basis?
Well, this thing has happened very quickly. And, to be honest with you, I resigned as the head football coach at Georgia State last Thursday morning. And I jumped in the car and packed as much as I could and jumped in the car and came back to Columbia. Got in here Thursday evening, and next thing I know, Coach Ben was like, hey, bounce in the office on Friday if you can. And next thing I know, I was at Fort Jackson running through mud and doing all the other things. But it's going to be real similar if we're looking back on what I'd done in my career from a run game standpoint. It's something that a lot of teams run. It's an inside zone type scheme. It's a lot of different tags off of it. It's a variation of getting some quarterback runs in there, whether it's some pin pull or some speed option or some quarterback draw or some other inside zone with the quarterback. But on a daily basis, the first thing I've got to do is I've got to coach those young men that I'm responsible for, and that's the tight end room. And let me just say this: in the few days that I've been here, we've got some wonderful guys in that room with some talent that I'm excited to work with. And other than that, it's really just getting us on the same page and making sure we're doing the fundamental correct things in all aspects of our run game. I mean, whether that's, talking about the wideouts, whether they're pushing, cracking on certain situations, or the offensive line and fundamental footwork and, pad progression and hat placement and things of that nature. And then, of course, with the tight ends, how we're going to utilize those guys and blocking schemes and vice versa, or some seal schemes. And then also it goes all the way to the quarterback, because the quarterback makes, from what I've done in the past, 20 years or so, the quarterback is he's the king of the castle. He makes this thing work. And I've been doing it for a long time. Everything that I did at Appalachian State, I brought to the University of South Carolina. And from the University of South Carolina, I took it to Georgia State. And from Georgia State, I'm hoping to be able to come back and implement a lot of the things that's made it so successful over the last 20 years, because we've been able to run the football and run it at a pretty good pace in all three stops where I've been, and I hope that continues, and I think it will continue. But I think you've got to get good at one thing and build your package around that one particular running play.
New-ish tight ends coach Shawn Elliott is on with us right now on the postgame show. And Shawn,
let's go with young. How about
there you go
with youngish? Yeah,
okay.
There you go.
Youngish works. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's just vague enough to where no one can really question exactly the parameters of the tag. So new-ish,
right.
young-ish coach Shawn Elliott on with us right now on the postgame show. And Coach, the fascinating thing that I thought from your press conference was discussing, the commute that you frequently made back and forth from Atlanta to Columbia, with your family still living here. And a couple questions, a couple hard-hitting Big J journalism questions here. One, how many miles did you put on that truck? And two, did you have like a playlist or a go-to, music category that you listen to kind of keep you mentally engaged? Because as someone who likes road trips and takes a lot of them frequently, I don't know if I could do that as frequently as you did over the last few years.
Yeah, those road trips were they were hard trips early on. I mean, those 3 hours from Atlanta back here to Columbia, especially right here to my house or the stadium over there at AC Flora or wherever it may be, those are long trips for me. And over the years, those long trips turned into 30-minute little jaunts. I mean, I could drive that thing back and forth, and I knew the spots where I could take advantage of some speed, so I could take advantage of some speed in some of those areas and make my pace a little bit faster back to Columbia or back to Atlanta. But the trips were, they were all worth it. Every trip I made back here, whether it was to see my daughter cheer or to see my son play in football or lacrosse or whatever it was, or just see our family on a Thursday night, and I could get up on Friday morning and get back to Atlanta. They were all worth it. I mean, they were all worth it. And I've said this a few times. The most important people in my life live in this great state of South Carolina. So those trips were well worth it. As far as the playlist and whatnot, I've got about every playlist you can imagine. And then here in the last few years, I started listening to podcasts and just trying to, some of it was to gain a little bit more knowledge in the game of football. I'd always listen to a lot of coaches that maybe had retired and started doing podcasts and just hearing some of those experiences. But it made the trip so much easier, and it would keep my mind off just exactly what I had just done. Because sometimes I would get back here to a cheerleading event, and her little routine would last about 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and I'd jump in the truck and I'd be heading back. So I've got quite a few miles on it. I think I've got about 100,000 miles on it, and I think it's a 2021 or 2022. So I've got a few miles on that thing.
Yeah, it's an inverse, frequent flyer relationship with the car at that point in time. A couple more minutes with Shawn Elliott here. I'm going to come back around to one more thing about both Atlanta and Columbia. Let me ask you one more football question real quick, and that's your early impressions of Dowell Loggins, what you knew about Dowell before you got back here to Columbia, and what that relationship is going to be like in terms of how you guys work together.
on the last 3 days, we've had an opportunity to sit in, and we've been watching cut-ups from a year ago and, talking about schemes and whatnot. He's a very intelligent coach, I can tell you that. He knows exactly what he's doing. He knows exactly how to attack defenses, and he's been doing it for a long time at a high level. So I got a lot of respect for Val and, what he's brought to South Carolina and what he's going to continue to bring. And I think we're going to have a great relationship. And, the one thing I want everybody to understand with any relationship when you're on the staff is you got to have trust in one another. And I think the guys that we have here, that have, the new guys that we've hired with the returning staff members and Dow, of course, I think we've gained a lot of trust. And it's a very, very short amount of time that I've been in those meeting rooms right there. But everything that he says is right on point. And when you can deliver the right on point and you understand and you know that the man knows what he's talking about and he delivers it very, very cleanly and clearly, then I'm all about it. I'm on board, and I think we've got a lot of trust in that room. We're going to have to build a lot more trust to be successful, but I think we got the guys in the room to do it. I mean, I'm telling you, Coach Coley, I mean, he's in there, and the banter back and forth in that meeting room is phenomenal. And here's guys that's never worked with one another before, but we're in there and just relaxing and having fun and trying to get better as a group and a staff and a football program.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch that. There's a lot of dynamic in there, but I know Shane likes to hire in a lot of the ways that Coach Spurrier did, Shawn, which obviously is one of the reasons you got to Columbia, the family atmosphere, the trust, the things that those refrains that get talked about. And I know that, Shane brought that from what his dad liked to do a long time ago, so there's certainly that aspect to it. Speaking of family, everybody likes to eat together. So the number one restaurant and or food, I mean, look, Atlanta's the South. It ain't like you can't get Southern food in Atlanta. I know you can get plenty of good stuff, too. But what'd you miss most in Columbia, A? And then, B, how much might you miss one of my favorite places in Atlanta, the great Fox Brothers Barbecue?
Wow, back here before I left, we'd kind of made a little tradition. I always loved the public house wings, and those were always just phenomenal. And I think we ate those, ordered them out or whatever we did every Sunday night. And so I really miss those things. Every chance I got to come back, I'd always bounce in there and pick up some wings and some raw fries. And it's just, something I enjoyed here in Columbia. And, Public House has been around for a long, long time. Yeah. And I've been eating there for, I can't even tell you how long. And then back there in Atlanta, your Fox Brothers is a staple there in Atlanta. It certainly is. But there's so many unique restaurants. I mean, so many just local places down there that you can sneak off to. There was one great Italian restaurant in Atlanta, and if you've ever been to Atlanta, you better find this spot. And they recently changed the name here in the last year or so, but it's called Amore Amore. If you want an experience unlike any other, and you want the best Italian food with entertainment, then you've got to go there. It is on point, unbelievable, and one hell of an experience.
All right. Well, Tony Annan's in the room right now, and he lived in Atlanta for many years before he came over to Columbia, too, and he just went, So he gave you a big affirmative on that one. And, of course, always a shout-out to that kind of place, to our good friends at Villa Tronco here in Columbia, which is also that kind of place. So there's that for you local folks. Well, listen, man, it's great to have you back. I've made a disclosure before. I've known Shawn a long time. I know his brother Mitch very well, too. And even your brother seemed excited about you coming back. So that was a big deal.
Yeah, if you can get him excited about anything right now, you're doing well. So, no, I think everybody is. I haven't lost my smile in the last 7 days or however many days I've been back, and I don't think I'm going to lose it. Me and my family and everyone involved that I've been associated with here in Columbia and Camden and Charleston or wherever it may be, has just been it's just been awesome, and I can't wait to continue to work here and get us back in contention. I think that's the number one thing we're all trying to do, and I trust in Coach Beamer and what he's done here. I understand he's got a really nice plan in place. I think he's got the staff in place. We got to go out there and we got to coach up these players, because I'm sure we got the players in place. So we've got to go do our very, very best. And I can assure you one thing, Shawn Elliott will give it his all.
There you go. Great to have you on again, man. Again, welcome back. Looks like you never left. We'll do it again here real soon. Appreciate you.
Always appreciate you, Jay. And you guys, listen, anytime. Love talking with y'all, and go Gamecock.
There you go. Good stuff. Thank you, Coach. Appreciate it. That's Shawn Elliott. Coach Tony Annan on a huge announcement for Columbia on the other side of the break. Oh my, we could not. We truly could not have had a more apropos bump for this segment.
People would never believe us when we tell them this is
random for the computer, but I'll explain in a second as the Stones bring us back in. Welcome back into the post-game show on this Friday. Again, an abbreviated version ahead of Carolina baseball. Many of you may be in the car or tailgating down at Founders Park already. If you are, hey, have fun. Beautiful day.
Oh, yeah. Didn't start off as a beautiful day.
No, but it's perfect now.
But we got there.
It's fine. Yeah, everything's fine. So if you're listening to us down there, we appreciate you on the way. Be safe. Coach Tony Annan, great friend of the station. Gunner takes a little too much of his time. That's not like me being jealous. That's just me looking out for you. But how you doing? Now use that one. Yeah, turn that one. There you go.
I'm good.
So if you guys have not heard, today at noon, a big announcement came that Williams-Brice Stadium on August the 3rd will play home to what in the global soccer community or global football community is known as a friendly. You can call it a preseason exhibition between two of the largest clubs on the planet. Manchester United and Liverpool are coming to Columbia, South Carolina. And the reason I say that Stones bump was apropos, because this, in terms of the stadium, look, I know Beyonce played. I know we've had some big events. U2's been in there. But I can still remember when I was in college and the Rolling Stones came to Columbia and played Williams-Brice Stadium. And I was like, man, the bleeping Rolling Stones are playing Williams-Brice Stadium. You know, this is massive, Coach. This is
huge.
Absolutely massive.
I don't know if people know how huge this is.
Well, I remember I was joking with Elijah, or maybe Terry this morning. I can't remember. I was like, well, I remember when the Redskins played the Jets in a preseason game, and this ain't that. That's all I'm going to say. This is a way, way bigger than
Somebody said to me yesterday, it's like the Red Sox Yankees. And I was like, no, I think it's bigger.
It's bigger.
It's
bigger. If you want hate and rivalry at the professional level, and you know, because for those that don't know, Liverpool and Manchester are only about maybe 45 minutes apart, if that. And these are the two. Historically, I love my club, Arsenal, but I'm not naive. These are the two biggest clubs in England.
Absolutely.
I was telling Elijah, if you look at what Manchester City's doing these days, they're kind of like the Chiefs. They are great right now, but they don't have that generational success that Liverpool and United have. And even Chelsea of late. Chelsea was never really what Chelsea had become. They were a nice club, but they weren't.
Till they were Chelsea.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, Roman Abramovich made it happen with all his billions. You know, and my club is a nice third or fourth, depending on who you look at. And your club is Newcastle is very good. By the way, today I want to say this real quick. I told Tony on Fridays, Elijah can vouch, I often wear Arsenal gear ahead of an Arsenal match. But today, for two reasons, I'm wearing a 22-year-old England Michael Owen jersey. Michael Owen was a big star back in the day, because Arsenal plays Newcastle tomorrow. So I wanted to be respectful to you. And then in the spirit of the English game coming over, I decided to wear the England jersey, which I proudly display. So there's that. Now, this, take us through what role you have played amongst many at Carolina to make this happen. Again, this is a game that would sell out in New York City, in Miami, in Dallas, in Chicago, and it's coming to Columbia, South Carolina.
Yeah, I mean, it's, like I said, it is huge for the city to bring it here. Chance Miller, who has spearheaded the whole thing, who's done unbelievable work behind the scenes with it all, he came to me and he said, hey, how would you feel about if we brought Liverpool and Man United here? And I was like, you're kidding, right? He's like, no, there's a chance. We can do this. So we talked for ages about it, but he took the bull by the horns. I know if you know Chance, when he's got an idea, it's going to happen. So he made it happen. They're going to be in town for a little while before the game as well, which is awesome for our program to be exposed to that. But it's we're the only college campus in the United States that got selected for this.
Yeah.
Number one,
right?
They're not doing it anywhere else.
Right. Oh, the other two are NFL stadiums.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think what I heard, the first thing that attracted them was the football stadium's light show and game day atmosphere.
Okay.
So they saw a night game at Willie B, and I guess the promoters jumped on it and said we could do that with the red and the white Liverpool.
Yeah.
So I think that's what caught their attention, and then obviously they contacted Chance, and it just snowballed from there, and it went real quick. And they've been over here, they've visited, they've spanned the city to see what the city's like, and they're all aboard. And I think if we could do this well, I think this could happen again.
Yeah, well,
I don't think this is a one-off if we do it well.
All right. Well, I'll just be itching for another club to come in that I've already mentioned. But in all seriousness, let's go through a little bit from a logistical standpoint. Now, again, an American football field and a soccer pitch are roughly the same size. So any issues at all in terms of these clubs, especially since this is a big ramp up, about 2 weeks before the regular season begins. So this will be an important opportunity for these teams. Everything's good from that perspective?
Yeah, absolutely. I think they're strong. Their squads will be strong because it's so close to the season. It's not like they're going to play just their substitutes because the guys have got to get the minutes. So I think you'll see two really strong squads. They've both been over. They've both scoped locker rooms, width of pitch, length of pitch. There's enough room on the home side to expand the pitch to get the width that we need.
Okay.
Obviously, we've got the length. That's no problem because the longest it can be is 120, which it covers that.
Right.
It'll be tight, but it'll be a good width pitch, and they know that. So they've okayed it, and they wouldn't do it if it wasn't up to their specs because this is two of the biggest brands in the world when it comes to soccer, football, and they are, I'm sure, high maintenance. This has got to be right, that's got to be right, and they're huge brands. So I don't think this would be happening unless everything was right.
From a brand perspective, to again kind of let people know that have heard of them but don't know, in my opinion, and I want yours, obviously, I feel like maybe still Real Madrid and Barcelona maybe 1 and 2, but and I think Bayern Munich is in that talk.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's a rotating top 5 almost that these two would be a part of.
And look, Man U's on a bit of a downturn at the moment, but they are still a huge, huge storied club. Yeah. And I think I would probably put them ahead of Barcelona globally.
That's fair.
I think Real Madrid are it, but after that I think it's Man U, even though it pains me to say that.
Me too.
And Liverpool, obviously, their success in the last 7 years has been amazing. So they're, and they're a storied club too.
Sure.
They've won championships and everything else. But I think if you're a sports fan, whether you love soccer or not, this atmosphere of these teams and these fans will be a spectacle.
Right.
I don't know if anybody was at the 94 World Cup when it was here. Obviously, I think the atmosphere and the game atmosphere around the game will equal that if you went to one of those games. Yeah. So it's a huge spectacle, and I think if we do it right, again, we could do it again.
Sit tight. I want to get to a few more things on this. And again, Elijah's going to help you with a quick preview of Carolina Ole Miss as well on an abbreviated edition. But again, massive news. The game will be August the 3rd. We don't know a kickoff time yet. No. Tickets will begin going on sale next week. But the match will be Saturday, August the 3rd.
It'll be evening. It will be an evening game.
Yeah. Well, I hope so because I've been in Columbia in August in the daytime.
Me too.
So so there's that. More to do with Coach Annan as we continue on the postgame show. It's about that time, y'all. I know I'll be doing it this week because the grass is already sprouting up. I got to get rid of some of the weeds, too. That means I'll be pulling out my Toro Time Master 30-inch deck mower from Cato's Power Equipment this weekend. Very excited about that. You might say you're excited about doing yard work. Hey, when I can do it in half the time and things look great, yes. See what Cato's can do for you. We listen, I went through a little process with Ben and Matt to find the exact right mower. They had a few options for me, Glad we chose this one. Whether you cut your own backyard, whether you do it for a living, Cato's been in business since 1983 with excellent sales, service, and advice. You can even rent equipment these days if you want to get a feel for what something might be like. Whether, again, it's personal or professional, Cato's is doing that for you, too. Stop in and see all they can do for you. 4012 West Beltline Boulevard. Always online at catospowerequipment.com. About that time, y'all. Go see my friends at Cato's. Final few minutes of the postgame show on this Friday. Welcome back in. Jay Phillips, Elijah Campbell, Coach Tony Annan in studio with us. Again, just tuning in, have not yet heard. August 3rd. That's a Saturday here in Columbia at Williams-Brice Stadium. Two of the biggest, really just sporting entities on the planet, not just soccer teams, but sporting entities. Manchester United and Liverpool playing an exhibition game, a friendly, as called. As Coach Annan said, likely to be in the evening for a lot of reasons.
Thankfully for all of us.
Included among them, though, the fact that Williams-Brice puts on a show, man.
That late show in football season is pretty cool.
It's a scene.
Seeing that after a goal would be pretty fun.
Yeah. But looking forward to that. And you, I don't know how much you can divulge, but where they're going to train, practice, hang around for a bit.
Yeah, I think one of the teams is spending quite a few days here before the game. One is just flying in for the game and flying back out.
Okay.
But I think one of the teams is going to be around.
Okay.
Which is pretty cool. And they're going to be using USC facilities. So
nice. Staying at your house?
If Jurgen was here, he might. But, you know, me and Jurgen go way back.
Yeah, Jurgen Klopp, I'll call him legendary, even though he hadn't been there that long. But I mean, what he's done. But he's not necessarily retiring
just for a year
from coaching. He's leaving Liverpool, maybe recharge the batteries.
So he's not going to do anything for a year.
Right.
So he's going to take a hiatus for 1 year.
Well,
but he will be in high demand.
Well, if it doesn't work out, and I hope it does, but if it doesn't work out for Greg Berhalter at the Copa America this summer,
yeah, I don't
think U.S. soccer can afford Jurgen Klopp. Well, at that point, you just hit up the sponsors, right? You make it happen.
Yeah, you make it happen. They bought Bex here. They bought Messi here.
Yeah.
You know, they can find the money when they need to.
Well, Jurgen Klinsmann made a lot of money back in the day.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, Greg doesn't make that much.
No, he doesn't make as much as Klinsmann did.
No,
nowhere near.
Yeah, and what's Jurgen Klopp's got to be pulling down about 20 a year, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it would cost a lot of money.
Yeah. Well, again, somebody make it happen. Somebody.
Mourinho might be in the mix because he also
he's so miserable these days. He's miserable.
He's still great though.
I know. Well, you got to say those things. I don't have to.
You don't have to.
But he's going to be
big.
He's always grumpy. Yeah. No, I'm so excited for this. You and I have other teams that we pull for, but this for the sport, for the city. And like I say, I'm not kidding, y'all. And trust me, as a lifer who loves soccer, who went to Carolina, I love the NFL, I love baseball, and I'm not saying this is bigger. I'm not. I just want you to know this is gigantic for our city. I mean, if you thought it was a big deal a few years ago, and it was when we finally got the NCAA men's basketball tournament to come back, there'll be more people here for that than there were for that. And that was a big deal. And I was so proud of Columbia that week. It was wonderful. One of the best times I've ever had in my own hometown. Truly was. And then this is going to be like that. Like I said, Rolling Stones, when they came in the 90s. And again, I know U2 came and we had Farm Aid, and here more recently, when Beyonce and Jay-Z came, those are big deals. And we don't get a lot of those big deals. This is right there with Beyonce and the Rolling Stones and U2 coming to Columbia, South Carolina. I assure you. And this is, sorry to NFL people, this is way bigger than that Washington and Jets game back in the 90s, which I went to. But I was like, oh, yeah, fun.
NFL teams, kind of.
Yeah. Well, and one of them was the Jets.
So it's 1.5.
Yes, yeah. It was only one real NFL team, and then the Jets.
And these are two very much real Premier League teams.
Very much so. Very much so. Before I wrap it up with Tony real quick here, a quick look at tomorrow's opportunity for Carolina basketball.
Yeah, big game tomorrow, 3:30 on the SEC network, and a really big
and
game.
107.5 the game.
And 107.5 the game. You can listen to it here. Our man Derek Scott and Judge Manning going to be on the call. And obviously we talked about how big a game this is to get off the losing streak. It's even better considering a quote that I read today from Brian Bennett from The Athletic, who spoke with the NCAA Selection Committee Chairman Charles McClellan and talked about things that they're weighing a lot more than others. So if we're talking about resumes, he discussed the trend this year of ranked teams losing on the road to non-ranked teams. Mm-hmm. And that's happened so frequently this year that the committee this season, more than any others, are really weighing true road wins. And I thought this quote was pretty interesting. It said, quote, "It's a red flag when almost all your quality wins are at home, so it's paramount that teams prove they can win away from their home courts." Well, South Carolina has one of their quad one wins on the road at Tennessee.
Yep.
This would be a quad one road win at Ole Miss. Didn't help that Grand Canyon got upset by Tarleton State last night, so that's no longer a quad one win anymore by 2 ranking points.
Right.
So this game is pretty big, and I like your chances. And if we want to get an EBPI number here, I say you're 60% likely to win because you just do a lot of things well that Ole Miss does not, and that's rebound the ball.
Right.
There are 14 teams in the SEC. Would you guys like to take a guess at where Ole Miss ranks in defensive rebounding?
Coach?
13.
14. Close.
Last.
Dead last.
Wow. Okay.
They do not do that very well at all. And 14 teams in the SEC. Where does Ole Miss rank in free throw attempts per, not per game, but I guess per possession?
I'll take Tony's and go 13 again.
14, dead last.
Last again.
South Carolina is the best at keeping teams off the free throw line in games. Ole Miss rarely gets onto it. Ole Miss is not a very physical team, and they don't rebound well at all, which is very ironic considering they have 2 7-footers, one being a 7'5" behemoth with maybe a wingspan that has to be close to 8 feet. So I think the matchup, wherever these guys play, Oxford, Columbia, Liverpool, Manchester, doesn't matter where they're playing this game, I genuinely think South Carolina is a better team top to bottom. I don't foresee Ole Miss, even in their home gym, making 20-plus points on mid-range twos, which they like to shoot a lot, and South Carolina forces teams to shoot a lot. And Ole Miss has gotten worse at making those shots. They only make that at about like a 38% clip this season. I still like South Carolina.
All right, Gamecocks need to win. That's what else. There's my breakdown. But the EBPI says 60%. So
love the matchup.
That. You guys have a game tomorrow.
We do, yeah. We're playing High Point.
At noon.
At noon.
Over at your place.
Over at the graveyard.
Yeah.
Yep.
So check them out. And, again, we'll talk to you plenty more ahead of this big matchup.
Can't wait.
And I think there's another match for some teams tomorrow at 3 Eastern time.
Yes. Hopefully I'll be in a joyous mood to watch that one.
Good luck to the team. Yeah, well, that's true. You'll be fine. Good luck to the team in red, not the team in black and white. I'm glad you came. Thank you for coming by. This is huge. I'm so excited.
It is. I'm excited. I'm excited to be part of it. It's great.
Yeah, this is big for Carolina, for Columbia. Again, August 3rd, Liverpool, Manchester United at Williams-Brice Stadium. Going to be a big deal.
Tickets on sale Tuesday for general public, but Monday for Gamecock members. So if you're not a Gamecock member, become a Gamecock member. You'll get early access to tickets.
Look at that. You're
just had to plug that there.
Nice. Salesman. I love it. Check them out. All right, good stuff. We got to get out of here. Gamecock baseball coming your way. Enjoy all the games this weekend because there's a whole lot of them. We will see you on Monday. So long. Thank you, Coach.
Thanks.